Thank you very much for inviting me to today's conference, QED Conference on CCP Recovery and Resolution. It is a great pleasure to be here, and the debate so far was excellent. You will hear a lot of things that you heard already before, but I think it's late in the afternoon. Repetition is good and helps memorizing. So let me introduce FI in a few words. FI is a global trade association with offices in London, Singapore, and Washington. In the futures, options, and centrally cleared derivative markets, that's where we operate in. Our membership is very varied, and this differentiates us a bit from other trade associations. So memberships, we have clearing firms, exchanges, CCPs, trading firms, commodities, specialist law and accountancy firms, and trade repositories. We support open, transparent, and competitive markets that protect and enhance the integrity of the financial system. And our members, so the CCP and clearing members, play a crucial role in the reduction of systemic risk in financial markets. I go now back a bit to why we are here and why we are now looking at European European proposals. So CCPs have been identified and are a vital part of the regulatory efforts to reform the global trading activity. It was all of these efforts of the last couple of years and the regulatory requirements that were driven into CCPs, clearing members in all markets by policymakers and regulators across the world. It was the transfer of the risk, of more risk management into CCPs. This is to say that the risk hasn't disappeared. The risk was simply shifted into CCPs, and it is the result of this too big to fail or the increased systemic importance of CCPs that actually brings us now here actually to look into European CCP recovery and resolution proposals. Discussions circle around who should take the losses in the event of a CCP crisis. Should it be the CCP, the clearing members, or other investors like pension funds, or even the taxpayer? A failure of a CCP is highly disruptive for markets due to the global interconnectedness of CCPs. The proposals also do not only have an EU perspective, because markets are global, especially derivative markets, but have also this global dimension. It is a complex debate, and anxiety remains of how to deal with the fundamental shift of the responsibilities to CCPs and the significant concentration of risk in clearing houses. We have observed that the global standards and the principles set by the FSB, CPM, and IOSCO post the financial crisis have set a comprehensive approach to CCP recovery and resolution. International cooperation in a crisis is essential, and it was good to see, I agree with Anne, it was good to see that the European Commission awaited the FSB and IOSCO outcome.
And I said the same thing.
Yeah, then I agree with you too. I agree with you too. Outcome before formulating their own CCP recovery and resolution proposals. And indeed, the regulation reflects the work carried out by the international standard setters relating to recovery and resolution. I also do think that the European Commission proposal is a good one, and I want to turn the attention a bit to a few technical points that we discovered so far in the debate with FIA members, and we are at the beginning of this process. But there are a few features that may disincentivize clearing participants to actively contribute to the recovery, and I name a few. We are glad to see that initial margin haircutting and forced allocation is out of the regulation, but we still, clearing members, or our members still feel that they should be explicitly excluded or even prohibited. It was also observed that there are no effective safeguards to the use of variation margin gains haircutting. So the variation margin gains haircutting is the reduction of the value of gains by the CCP to non-defaulting clearing members and partial tear-up. Also, there should be effective safeguards in place. We hear also in the discussion with our members that there is no explicit provision regarding how non-default losses are to be funded, and excluding the use of the default and waterfall for non-default losses. And FIA members also want the use of cash calls across recovery and resolution subject to strict limitations. These are a few There will be more, and we will have more debates with all of our participants. A further complexity might also be introduced by Brexit. How will CCP recovery and resolution work after Brexit? We have major CCPs homed in the United Kingdom, and the UK at some point might or will become a third country. So our members are here concerned, and Brexit is not the topic today, but that significant market disruption, financial instability and regulatory uncertainty may be a result from a failure by the UK and the EU not to deliver a smooth process through the Brexit process following the trigger of Article 50. We are only at the beginning of the process here in Europe, but there is still a long way to go, and we're going to have many more discussions about CCP recovery and resolution going forward. Thank you very much for your attention.